Hi friends, Krista here. Thanks so much for stopping by Books and Jams. Today I have something a little bit fun and different for you. I watched this video on Holly's channel from Lovely Day with Holly the other day, and I immediately had to make my own stack. And what we're going to be talking about is A to Z middle grade TBR books. So these are all books that are on my shelves, starting with the letter A all the way to Z, of middle grade books that I am very eager to read. I feel like this is a good time to do it. We're about halfway through the year until middle grade March comes around again. And so why not do a little mini focus on middle grade books, just for the fun of it. I thought about saving it until March, and then I'm like, no, let me do it now. And then maybe you guys could do it during March or leading up to middle grade March. Anyways, I have a stack here of 26. I couldn't find one letter. So I have 25 books here, starting with the letter A, and these are all books I have not yet read, so I don't know very much about them. So I'm not going to talk too much about them, but we're just going to jump in, and I'm going to stack them on the shelf, see if they fit, and we're going to go for it. So for the letter A, I have Amal Unbound. Look at that gorgeous cover by Aisha Saeed. And this is about a 12-year-old girl who dreams of being a teacher and ends up having to become a house servant or like a house cleaner in Pakistan. Yeah, so I feel like that's a good cultural book that will teach me something new for A. For B, I have Bloomability by Sharon Creech. I love Sharon Creech's book, Walk Two Moons. She's a very prolific middle grade author, and I haven't read too many others of her books, but I've been slowly getting a couple here and there. In this one, we follow a young girl named Dinny who is kidnapped by her aunt and uncle and sent to a school in Switzerland. So I'm not sure exactly the situation around that, but I am down to go to Switzerland. Let's do that in a book. For C, oh, that's not going to work, is it? For C, I have Counting by Sevens by Holly Goldberg Sloan. This one comes highly recommended by Amanda from the Curly Reader, and I've heard that it's going to make me cry. All I know is that it's going to have friends Willow and Mai, and they kind of feel on the outside of things. They don't really feel like they fit in, and they're going to learn to be okay with that, I'm assuming. We'll see. For D, I have Pam Munoz Ryan's book, The Dreamer. This is an author that I've loved before. I love both Esperanza Rising and Echo by her, and so I'm really excited to read more. In this one, we follow a young boy named Neftali, who is a big dreamer. He's very creative, and his father has kind of different ideas for his future, but he sets out on an inspiring journey of self-discovery that will transform his life and ultimately the world. Sounds good. I love Pam Munoz Ryan. For E, I have another author that I've loved, Katherine Applegate. She wrote this book, Endling the Last. This is the first in a series, and Bix is our main character, and Bix is the last of her kind. So she's the endling, the very last one. It's the last chance. She's the last chance to save her kind and the last hope for every creature in her world. So kind of a fantastical world, but I love Katherine Applegate, so I'm very eager to read anything that she's written. For F, I have a historical fiction, Fever, 1793 by Laurie Halse Anderson. This book was gifted to me in my Christmas book exchange by Lindsay from Lindsay's Little Library. This is not one to read if you don't like reading pandemic books in a pandemic, because it's about fever that broke out in 1793 and a young girl named Maddie who is caught up in the midst of things. For G and H, I have the same author, Sophie Anderson. I have The Girl Who Speaks Bear for G and The House with Chicken Legs for H. These covers are just so stunning. Covers alone make me want to read these books. This one has a map inside of it. Yeah, I believe this is based on Russian folklore about a girl who can communicate with animals, in particular a specific bear. This one on the back, it says, "My house has chicken legs. 2 or 3 times a year without warning, it stands up in the middle of the night and walks away from where we've been living." I'm so down. I'm down. I just love those covers so much. For the letter I have The Inquisitor's Tale by Adam Gidwitz. It says, "Or the 3 magical children and their holy dog." Illustrated by Hatem Ali. So there are some like corner illustrations. There's quite a few of those. There's no full page ones, but there's a lot of these kind of corner border type of illustrations all the way throughout. I heard about this book a couple years ago during middle grade March when we did the Book of Boy, which was kind of a miss for most people, but this is another medieval middle grade that I am very interested in reading that was recommended during that middle grade March a couple years ago. For J, I have Jefferson's Sons by Kimberly Brubaker Bradley, another middle grade author that I absolutely love. Jefferson's Sons follows the kind of secret children of Thomas Jefferson that he had with a slave girl. I do believe that this book has been taken out of print. I bought it from Book Outlet before it was gone. So I'm very excited that I have a copy of it, and I've just heard such high praise for this one. Very excited to read that. K was a difficult letter for me, which is so sad because my name starts with a K. But I finally found one on my Newbery shelf. It's pretty beat up, but this is King of the Wind, the story of the Godolphin Arabian by Marguerite Henry. I was never a girl who cared about horse books. I know a lot of young reader girls go through a phase of horse books. That was not me. I did not care. But, and this looks like a book that I would have loved if I went through that phase. And it doesn't look like a book that is appealing to me because of the cover, like some other ones over here. But it is on my Newbery shelf, and I would like to read all of the Newberys. So it is still a part of my TBR. So I just know that this involves a horse. There are some illustrations in here. I don't really know. Oh, some colorful illustrations as well, which will be fun. This won the Newbery in, let's see what year. 1948. So it won the Newbery in 1949. So pretty old. That's going to hold those up. For L, I have The Lions of Little Rock by Kristen Levine. This has been on TBRs of mine many times. I'm kind of sad that I haven't read it yet, but this takes place in Little Rock. It's historical fiction about a black girl and a white girl who become friends in the midst of all of this racial turmoil that their town goes through. So I'm very excited about this. I have heard good things about it. For the letter M, I have The Miraculous by Jess Redmond. It's about a little boy who believes in miracles, and I think he tries to get other people around him to believe in miracles too. I've heard that it's very heartwarming, will touch your heart. I am expecting to cry with this one. I did read another book by her, which we'll talk about in a moment. But yeah, I'm very excited to read this one. Have I said that for every single book? I need to stop saying that. Can middle grade March just get here already so I can just focus solely on middle grade books? For N, I have another historical fiction, A Night Divided by Jennifer A. Nielsen. And I believe this takes place along the time when the Berlin Wall was built, and this family gets separated when the wall goes up, because the wall basically went up overnight, like super, super fast. And so, was it her father was on one side? Yeah, her mother, and her brother live on the eastern side, controlled by the Soviets, and her father and her middle brother, who had gone west in search of work, are unable to return home. So this family gets divided because of the Berlin Wall. I'm very, very interested in that story. I don't know that I've read a book that's set in Berlin about the wall. I just feel like that will be very interesting. For O, I have One Crazy Summer by Rita Williams Garcia, and this is the beginning of a trilogy, and look at all the awards on here. I love it. It is a Newbery Honor book, a Coretta Scott King Award, National Book Award finalist, and a Scott Odell. So yeah, look at all those awards. I need to read this book. And I just love those little girls with their attitude. Fun. I've heard that this is a really fun trilogy. For P, I have an author that I haven't read in a really long time, Patricia Riley Giff, and this is her book, Pictures of Hollis Woods. This also won a Newbery Honor. Whoa, I'm very close to you, sorry. And I believe that this has to do with foster care. There is no summary on here, but I'm pretty sure I've heard that this one deals with some foster care. A child in foster care, or a foster family, or something along those lines. Q is the one letter that I could not find. I did not have any books on my TBR shelf or on my Newbery shelf. And I even tried to look through Goodreads, and was having a hard time finding a Q book. I do have one that I have read before, Quintessence by Jess Redmond. She's the same author as The Miraculous. I read this on NetGalley, and I really enjoyed this book. So if you're looking for a Q book, Quintessence might be a good one for you. It's about a young girl who has the ability, or she sees a star fall, and Quintessence is like the essence of starlight. And so she sees the star fall, but it's personified as a young person. And so she goes after the star, and there's other secrets involved. And it's about learning to accept herself as she is. It was a very lovely book. For R, I have a book that was recommended 2 times in my Booktubers recommend middle grade books that I do at the beginning of March every year. And Running Out of Time this past year was recommended twice by Margaret Peterson Haddix. She is the author of the Shadow Children series, which I very recently read and loved. So I'm very excited that I have some more books by her. In this one, Jessie and her family live on the outskirts of this town in Indiana, and diphtheria strikes the village and the children all start dying. And Jessie's mother sends her on a dangerous mission to bring back help. So there's a time-sensitive adventure here. She's got to go get some help. For S, I have Saving Lucas Biggs by Marissa de los Santos and David Teague. I have seen this author, Marissa de los Santos, so many times, and I don't think I've read anything by her. I believe in this one, Margaret and her family have the ability to time travel. Not anybody else knows that, but her dad is either wrongfully convicted or convicted of some crime, and she is determined to help out, even if it means revealing her family secrets. I should have talked about this in my time books. I didn't realize that this dealt with time. I didn't remember that this one also dealt with some time travel. So I'm excited about that. A little bit of time travel in a middle grade book. For T, I have another start to a series, Tuesdays at the Castle by Jessica Day George. There's a castle that rebuilds itself every Tuesday. It invents new rooms, it moves staircases around, it changes things up every Tuesday. And our main character, Celie, she's a princess who lives in the castle, and she starts recording all the different changes that the castle is making every week. But this series, I believe all start with a day of the week. So I don't know if there are 7 books in the series, but I know Wednesdays in the Tower is book 2. I don't know if it continues from there, but yeah, I just think that sounds really sweet and fun. For you, I have a book called The Unforgettable Guinevere St. Clair by Amy McKechnie. And this is a cover buy from Book Outlet over the summer, I think. At some point, I was going to do all middle grade books that have stars on the cover. This is one that qualifies. I never ended up doing anything with that, but this one involves a young girl named Guinevere St. Clair who is super smart. She has studied the brain. She wants to be a lawyer when she gets older. And part of the reason why she is studying so hard is because her mother has some kind of brain malfunctioning. She can't remember anything since hasn't been able to remember anything after the age of 13 since Gwen was 4. So I'm not sure what happened when Gwen was 4, that her mother stopped remembering things. But so now Gwen is determined to help bring back her mother's memory. And I believe there are friends and family involved, and as usual with a middle grade book. For V, I have another Newbery winner. It's The View from Saturday by E.L. Konigsberg. In this one, we follow 4 kids who are chosen by their teacher to be part of this academic bowl, and they each have kind of their own situations at home that they're dealing with, and the teacher who's returning to teaching 10 years after she's been paralyzed in a car accident. So it's about these 5 people, the teacher and the 4 kids, and their connection with each other and this academic bowl and their lives outside of school. And I just love that found family type of element that's in here. I'm really excited for that. I'm not going to say that. Just a couple left. I think they're all going to fit on here. For W, I have The Watsons Go to Birmingham 1963 by Christopher Paul Curtis. I have loved Christopher Paul Curtis. I read Bud Not Buddy during middle grade March this past year and really enjoyed it. And Katie has read this one, and as well as a couple of other people that I've heard have read this and really loved it. And so I'm very excited. I think this is going to be about a family who travels to Birmingham. It's going to deal with some race issues, and it's also going to have a bit of humor and love in this family. I'm just really excited for this one. Stop saying that. Katherine Rundell wrote my X book, and I'm pushing it on this one because X-ray. What else starts with an X? Xylophone? Like, there's not middle grade books that start with that, but this is Explorer, so it's right at the beginning. It's close. Explorer by Katherine Rundell. And I think this is about a plane crash. From his seat in the tiny airplane, Fred watches the mysteries of the Amazon jungle pass by him. And as the plane smashes into the canopy, Fred is suddenly left without a choice. He and 3 other children may be alive, but the jungle is a vast, untamed place. So it's about survival in the Amazon jungle after a plane crash. Whoa. For Y, I have The Year of Miss Agnes. Obviously, I'm ignoring the on some of these. This is by Kirkpatrick Hill. This is a book set in Alaska about a one-room schoolhouse and a teacher that the kids don't think is going to last very long, but she surprises them. And finally, for Z, again, I had to work the system a little bit, but I have From the Desk of Zoe Washington. I think this is the only book that I could find that had a Z in the title somewhere. So this is by Janae Marks, and I've heard such good things about this book. In this one, Zoe, on her 12th birthday, receives a letter from her father, who she learns has been in jail for quite a while, and he's saying that he's innocent. And so she kind of goes on this mission to find out if that's true, to find out what really happened, and she kind of keeps all of that secret from the rest of her family. So I've heard that that's really good. I'm excited. And there it is. My A to Z middle grade TBR. There are a lot of these letters that I could have had multiple books for, but I just picked one that I'm super excited about. I would love to hear from you. Have you read any of these books? What did you think of them? Can you think of another Q book that I'm forgetting that I didn't think of other than Quintessence? Because I don't have any. I'm like Queen. There's got to be something with a queen. I don't know. Quick. I couldn't think of a Q. Anyways, I hope that you enjoyed this little bit of a different video today, highlighting some books on my middle grade TBR shelf. Let's chat down in the comments. You guys know I love talking with you down there. Thank you so much for watching. I really appreciate you being here, and I will be talking to you in another video very soon. Bye.